The competition between the F-16 Block 70 and the KF-21 has quietly evolved into one of the most consequential choices for the Philippine Air Force in the past 3 decades. This is no longer a narrow debate over technical specifications. It has become a strategic decision that will shape Manila's deterrence posture, its alignment patterns in the Indo-Pacific, and its ability to respond to a security environment that is tightening around both the West Philippine Sea and the Luzon Strait. The Philippines is entering a phase where it must choose not only a fighter aircraft, but also the ecosystem, diplomatic weight, and industrial relationship that come with it. For decades, the F-16 has been the global benchmark for middle-power air forces. It carries the credibility of thousands of airframes in service and dozens of air forces that have adapted tactics and training around it. The Block 70 variant represents the most advanced version of this lineage, centered on the AN/APG-83 active electronically scanned array radar, a highly modernized cockpit, and access to the most mature ecosystem of Western munitions, such as the Joint Direct Attack Munition, the Small Diameter Bomb, the AIM-9X, and the AIM-120 AMRAAM. To any defense planner, this package offers stability, predictability, and a clear long-term training pathway. The Philippine Air Force has long been interested in the F-16 for these exact reasons. As a formal treaty ally of the United States, Manila sees value in deeper integration with a system that its main security partner can support at scale. Interoperability with American aircraft deployed through the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement adds further appeal, especially for joint missions such as maritime domain awareness, air policing, and high-end exercises. On paper, the F-16 appears to give Manila everything it needs to modernize rapidly and plug directly into the American operational architecture. However, reality has shifted. 2 major problems have emerged for Manila. The first is cost. The price of a squadron of F-16 Block 70 fighters has risen significantly due to backlogs, inflation in the American defense industry, and long waiting lines from Europe, the Middle East, and Taiwan. More importantly, the lifetime operating cost over 30 years has become a decisive issue for a country whose defense budget must balance the competing demands of the Army, Navy, and Air Force. The second problem is delivery timing. The production line is saturated, with hundreds of aircraft already in queue. The Philippines is unlikely to receive early delivery unless it pays a premium, and even then, the schedule is vulnerable to delays. Strategic planning loses coherence when a nation faces unpredictable delivery windows. In contrast, the KF-21 represents a new class of opportunity. Although still in development, it is not an experimental aircraft. The platform has completed hundreds of successful flight tests, with serial production expected in the second half of this decade. The design features low observability, an advanced active electronically scanned array radar developed in South Korea, and an open architecture suitable for integrating long-range air-to-air and air-to-surface weapons. For Manila, this speaks to future-proofing. The KF-21 may not be a fully 5th-generation fighter, but it belongs to the upper tier of the 4.5 generation category with space to evolve. South Korea also offers something the United States does not: diplomatic flexibility and industrial partnership without stringent export restrictions. Seoul is willing to discuss long-range strike options, anti-ship missiles, and deep strike munitions without the political conditions often attached to United States transfers. This aligns closely with Manila's emerging strategy to develop its own long-range deterrent centered on the Luzon Strait and the West Philippine Sea. The more the Philippines prepares for contested airspace near China, the more relevant flexibility becomes. Cost is another pillar where the KF-21 holds an advantage. Estimates suggest that the total package, including weapons and support, could be lower by 20 to 30% compared with the F-16. the operating cost is projected to be more manageable, and the maintenance philosophy is designed to suit countries with limited budgets. Seoul is ready to offer staggered payment schemes, local maintenance opportunities, and potentially even parts production for the Philippine defense industry. This type of economic and industrial consideration is not peripheral. It is core to how the Philippines can sustain its modernization program without triggering political backlash over defense spending. Training and familiarity further tilt the balance. The Philippine Air Force already operates the F-50, which has become the backbone of its fighter and lead-in trainer fleet. The learning curve, simulator environment, and maintenance system of the KF-21 are direct evolutions of the F-50 ecosystem. This creates continuity. Transition time for pilots shrinks. Maintenance crews benefit from existing institutional knowledge. Support infrastructure requires fewer changes. The entire training pipeline becomes more efficient, and the financial burden of adaptation decreases significantly. Choosing a fighter that naturally fits the Air Force's current architecture is a major advantage, especially for a service that is still growing. Another dimension is geopolitical signaling. Acquiring the F-16 positions Manila deeper inside the American security sphere, which has clear advantages but may also expose the Philippines to political pressure or operational limitations tied to Washington's global priorities. The KF-21, meanwhile, allows Manila to strengthen ties with South Korea while maintaining strategic autonomy. It also fits well within the emerging triangle of cooperation between Seoul, Tokyo, and Manila, supported but not dominated by Washington. This multi-node strategy reduces structural dependency on any single partner and broadens the Philippines' diplomatic leverage. The future operating environment also matters. By 2035, the West Philippine Sea and the Luzon Strait will likely be even more militarized. Air forces operating in these regions will need aircraft with multi-role flexibility, low observability, long-range missile integration, and the ability to act as a deterrent without escalating prematurely. The KF-21's growth potential gives it an advantage here. As new sensors, engines, and weapons are developed, the platform can evolve through software updates and block upgrades that are shaped around customer needs, not just those of the original developer's military. Flexibility becomes a strategic commodity. Taken together, these factors explain why the balance is shifting. The F-16 remains a proven aircraft with an unmatched support network, but it is no longer the obvious choice for Manila. Rising costs, limited delivery slots, and political constraints reduce its attractiveness. Meanwhile, the KF-21 offers modern design, lower cost, quicker delivery, flexible weapons integration, interoperability with existing Philippine systems, and a diplomatic relationship based on mutual elevation rather than hierarchical alignment. The Philippine Air Force is not choosing between an established giant and an unproven newcomer. It is choosing between a legacy system that may arrive too late and cost too much, and a future-oriented system that fits the country's strategic, budgetary, and operational realities. In a region where deterrence depends on timely capability, sustainable operation, and political flexibility, the KF-21 increasingly aligns with Manila's vision for credible air power in the next 2 decades.